Question everything, trust nothing, except for your boy Keeper. Welcome to Trading Wars. All right, I got it right the first time. If you are just joining and you haven't been on X last night or heard the news, I did change the name officially to Trading Wars with an S, no Z anymore. So had some good input from my boy CryptoFace. Shout out to CryptoFace, and said, you know what, I like it. I think it was I had some people come at me and say, hey, it's a little bit confusing. You've got Crypto Wars and then this show within that is Trading Wars, and it can just be a little bit, convoluted. And so I made that change last night. So if you're looking for me over on X, it is Trading Wars, just spelled out correctly, as you can see in the logo in the top right hand corner, Trading Wars BTC. So if you're looking for me on X, it's Trading Wars BTC. Did make that change last night. And then obviously the channel, which I think people have been having trouble searching, but they were having trouble searching Crypto Wars with a Z too. So it is what it is, just YouTube playing YouTube games. It's just Trading Wars over on YouTube. So I'm excited about today. We're going to talk about some economic data. I know I got the man for the job backstage. I'm about to pull him up. And yeah, we're going to get into macro market conditions. We're going to talk a little bit of GameStop stuff going on. Just a number of, crypto-centric, sorry, might want to put my phone on mute. Number of crypto-centric things going on in the world with your boy, Bill Noble. Bill, what's up, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. Setup's looking good. I like the backlighting. Got it going on, brother. Looking good. Looking good.
Thank you. You too.
I've got my new setup over here, trying to kind of went with I've got a smaller space that I'm working in now. So I had to kind of downsize a little bit. I've been thinking this has got an Ethereum sign on it, but tell me, is it hard for you to see the ETH sign on that? Because you can see the moon, obviously, but can you see the Ethereum sign, or is it kind of hard to see?
Well, it's a little hard to see, but my eyesight, I'm over the age of 35, so you might get a second opinion on that.
Yeah, my eyesight. Well, chat, you can tell me whether it's hard to see or not. I'm thinking about swapping that out. But yeah, I'm excited about the show today. Excited to get your input on what's happening in the wild world of crypto. So smash the likes if you haven't already. Make sure to follow Bill over on Noble Crypto. Hold on, I always Crypto Noble. God, I always flip that.
Crypto_Noble on Twitter.
Crypto_Noble on Twitter.
And YouTube is just at Crypto Noble.
At Crypto Noble. Okay, there you go. Got it. Let me jump into the chat and say hello. Let's see who's up in here. Who we got first? Uh-oh, your boy Caffeinated Crypto. Caffeinated Crypto got my cold coffee. Right there. We got Patriot Caveman in the house. Patriot Caveman, what's up, brother? Memories with Mike on the stream. Heck yeah. Trade Intuition says smash the like. Everybody else make sure to do the same. Trade Intuition is going to be on Trading Wars coming up soon. So that's starting in 2 weeks. I'm excited about that. I announced yesterday the new sponsor, which is Fairdesk. I know it feels like I've been jumping around, guys, but I'm telling you, every time I feel like I'm kind of getting solidified, there's just things that the exchanges, just exchange things. So I think I've got a great partner. They're going to have a live, Bill, I'm excited about this. They are going to have, I believe the plan is to have like a live API for a dashboard. So like during the stream or whatever, or I even told them even if it updates once a day, fine. But for the influencers, I'll be able to pull up a dashboard. It's got all their logos and their names on it. And then also for the show, or I mean, for the people that are watching, that are playing, the people in the audience that are on Tuesdays, it'll have their names and information. So I'm excited about that. They seem like they're going to be working hard to make it as best as possible. So really looking forward to that. Jaime, price drop, then pump, liquidate, bought side FOMC. Yeah, Jaime, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into why the price action looks like it is what it is. Patriot K-Man says, notorious. When we need Alpha Bill Noble, he's always there.
Right on.
That's right. All right, cool. Let's take a look at the chart, or let's take a look at the overall market cap, I should say. So let me zoom in here. The global crypto market cap is at 2.663 trillion. Let me go ahead and update that. Let's check to make sure it's right. 2.664. Jumped another Billy. Trillion dollars. We've got Bitcoin 69,599, approaching that 70K number, up 4.6% on the day. Glad to see that. We've got ETH 3613 again, up 4.7%. All right, we're moving in the right direction. BNB at $630. Solana at 158. It had taken a nice little hit. It's up almost 8%. So excited to see that. Scrolling on down to Toncoin, number 10, up 9.1%. That has been a fantastic part of my portfolio, doing good things there. Scrolling on down, had a couple other nice moves. You guys know what I'm going to be checking in on. I usually just kind of stop at ICP. Check that out. It's up about 7.8%. Here it is, though. Caspa, creeping back towards that 18-cent number. I want to see that that continue to run. But let's see. Did it happen? Are we pumping or not? V-Chain, there we go. We're going in the right direction. Up 7.7%. So that's what's up with the overall market caps. Look at this. The crypto bubbles are almost all green. I don't even know what AKT is. I'm not really sure what that is. Is that Akash network or something? I feel like
yeah, I think they were a consensus sponsor. Yeah.
Okay, I think that might be what that is. But guys, the market is rocking. Injective is up 24.6%. It's one of the big movers. LPT up 26%. Pendle up 14%. Brett's up 11.9%. Like I told you, Ton's up 10.1%. The Graph's up 10%. We're moving in the right direction. Okay, one more thing, and then I'm going to let Bill jump on and get into it. I want to show the Bitcoin. Let me flop this over here. Look at that, guys. I'm actually learning how to navigate this thing called TradingView. That's fantastic. All right, so the price, like I said, 66,939 right now. Oh, hold on a second. Is that right? Yeah, it's 66,939. No, 69,480. I just looked at the wrong, totally at the wrong spot. I looked at the spot that I had marked for the point of control. But if we look in that actual number, that 66,939, I told you guys that 67 number was going to be really important to hold. And as we zoom in a little bit on the daily, look at that. I mean, just absolutely bouncing off of it yesterday and then pumping right back up to on the upside. I want to ask you, Bill, I did a video, I did a short earlier today, just talking about how these market makers seem to chase these liquidation points. It's almost like, okay, so no information came out any different from yesterday and the day before. We got a nice little dump. They knew that the meeting was going to be Wednesday. The percentage chance that there wasn't going to be a rate cut hadn't really changed. It was 99.4% that wasn't going to happen, right? But all of a sudden, we have, I don't even remember the number, but a massive amount of liquidations. It feels to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, because you've been on that side of the ball game with the institutional investors. It feels to me like they literally had a big liquidity grab. They said, here, thank you very much for giving us that. They pushed the price down to take that from you and then said, oh, yeah, by the way, this is good news. We're going to bring it right back up to where we wanted. Is that what's happening? It really feels like that.
That is definitely one scenario. In other words, when large players need liquidity, right, they can, they can find stops and run them, right? That's typical. Now, in this case, that decline was more than like 1 or 2 days. That wasn't our usual, oh my God. So my major concern is, especially when you look at the liquidations, is that it could be because of GameStop. There could be some sort of liquidation event coming in the system, meaning somebody may be having trouble paying their bills. Crypto can sometimes be the canary in the coal mine. Net. Yes, the market went down. Everyone was afraid of inflation, but I really can't believe that. So today we're unwinding a decline that, I don't know. If it was because of inflation, no wonder it's being unwound. It was unwarranted. Somebody pushed the market down either to get liquidity, as you said, or because somebody is getting liquidated out there and we can't see it yet.
It felt like it just felt like, and I know a lot of times people get irritated when you talk about market manipulation, but listen, the world of finance is wrought with it. Had somebody this morning talking to me about the thing that I've talked about many times, where the bank put a hold on the check, and then all you have to do is call and ask them to remove the hold. It's 2024. Like everything in finance is set up. It feels as if everything is in finance is set up to help the big guy, to help the institutions, to help the banks, to help, the market makers, et cetera. And so I just want to let people know and caution people that as long as you know the game that you're playing when you're trading and understand, you know, if you have a big open position, you know, something like, I know a lot of you probably don't trade like CryptoFace does, but as an example, he doesn't use stops. And the reason that he doesn't use stops is because of the fact that that is a reality, that when they see these points, these positions, they can chase them. And yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's interesting how it happened and then came right back up. I actually talked about it a little bit yesterday, how, you know, what's the play here? And it feels like that is exactly what the play was. And we'll see. Let me ask you, Bill, before I go on to the next chart real quick. Do you see this just as being a short-term thing, or do you think, let's say we get the expected information from today's meeting, right, do you think that we're going to turn right back around and they're start playing games that way, or do you think that we're probably going to solidify a little bit and chill out?
I think this back and forth, this back and forth is going to be the new normal, right? In other words, the Fed knows it needs to cut rates. They want to cut rates. Okay, but they need to maintain their appearances in the meantime. They can't come out and say, you know what, something's wrong and we need to cut rates. They can't do that. Okay, so, you know, first it's rally. Then, honestly, we're going to find out after that why the market went down to begin with. Because as you noted, it was a little excessive for just a liquidity grab. Yeah, it could be more. So I would expect this thing to go up for like 2 or 3 days. For everything to attack resistance. And then it's back to what listeners may remember from way back at FTX. It's beware the failed rally, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you do not want to see this thing fail badly like it did a week ago. Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that's not what happens, but we will find out. Let's check in on ETH real quick. So ETH, as I'm looking, as we've been in kind of this downward trend after the huge move, I don't know how long ago it was. I guess it would have been I can tell you, on May 20th, you know, we had this huge move, obviously, on the news about the ETFs coming out or preparing for that. And then we've been in a downward trend. But as I look at this, I kind of see this as a nice little bull flag forming here. I don't know how long this flagpole can get, but it looks to me like a classic bull flag. I'm hoping that plays out for sure. Kaspa, Kaspa's just been doing Kaspa things, right? And I was just talking about a bull flag. Kaspa had this nice move, boom, boom, and now we are headed back up. We've got a green dot on Market Cipher on the momentum wave, which is good to see. It looks like the ribbons are about to possibly twist over on the prime oscillators, and this is on the daily. I'm looking at more macro stuff on all of these guys, so I'm hoping Kaspa gets back up over its all-time high, 18 cents. Obviously, that's going to be dependent on what Bitcoin does. I don't know if you've ever charted Toncoin, Bill, but I got to tell you, this chart almost looks like the never-ending, you know, meme coin chart that is just a beautiful chart. This thing has just been absolutely just a nice, steady, and then off to the races. Oh, we got a decent little, you know, like I feel like this chart is just absolutely glorious, and I'm interested to see how far this goes. I mean, it's at $7.51. Telegram is doing nothing but growing. We actually over at Tonald are going to be, I think, I don't want to announce that yet. Never mind. Hold that. I need to confirm that with somebody. There's something happening on Toncoin that is a big, big, big deal that I think that your boys on Tonald are going to be a part of. I'm waiting for confirmation on it, so I shouldn't say that. And Ton's up at almost 6 million, guys. So we had our fun in the sun for up at what was it? Up at 11. We were at 11.2 million. Big correction, but I got to tell you, not a single person on our team sold any of that fear. We actually bought up some of the dip that was there, and I'm looking forward. We're going to be talking about some Donald Trump today, not Tonald, but Donald Trump, because we got some stuff going on with him. Bill, let's talk macro stuff. What is going on with, I mean, we've got to look at the dollar, right? We've got to look at the dollar. What's happening with the dollar, good, bad, and different, and what's it mean for crypto with where we're at right now? Okay, so let me share the screen. I will let you. Thank you. All right. So here's DXY, right? I'm going to be honest. This rally right here made absolutely no sense to me. I actually think that, because it was off this payroll number, and we all know that there are these irregularities in the payroll number, and the job market's not as strong as everyone says, et cetera.
Right.
Ironically, this rally in the dollar came right on the heels of Donald Trump saying that he was the crypto president. It's amazing that the market, if you go back and look at the news flow, he came out and said, love crypto, and then went straight down for 6 days. That was including with silver down, right? Because Jamie Dimon wants silver down. That's a whole story. And then the dollar up mysteriously, like, oh, wow, everything's great with the dollar. Really?
Yeah.
It's not. Okay. So the dollar goes to resistance. And then whatever this nonsense was over here, it just unwinds itself.
Unwound.
Right. Unwound. Thank you very much. The only way out of a debt problem is to get the currency lower. So, when it comes to the dollar will eventually become crypto's best friend. However, do not underestimate that Donald Trump liking crypto can bring in actors in crypto. Like, for example, hedge funds are all short Bitcoin.
Right.
Everybody. Right? Really? Huh. How did you guys come to that conclusion with BlackRock buying everything? You know what I'm saying? You have to ask yourself these questions when you do, question everything, trust nothing. So with this dollar, the dollar is in trouble. And frankly, so is all of fiat, right? ECB flags euro risks that central banks don't want to hold the euro anymore.
What?
So, yeah, right. Paper money is in trouble.
Yeah.
Really, it is.
People are hip to it. They're getting hip to it. I really think that.
And it's a question of time before the dollar is lower, because rates have to be lower, or something's going to break if it hasn't happened already behind the scenes.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised. I'm actually really surprised at how good of a job they've done manipulating our financial markets in terms of just breaking the whole freaking system with the games that they've been playing. And so I am interested, and we are going to talk about that today, to see, what does it look like when interest rate cuts happen? Is it going to be like it was, a couple of years ago? Is it going to be, is that going to be the new norm? Are they effectively getting this under control, or are we still in for, a bumpy ride? And I'm really interested. Well, let me ask you, Bill, do you still think that we can have this soft landing they've been talking about forever, or have we been in the process of a soft landing and it's actually playing out?
Okay, well, there is no such thing as a soft landing. If you look back historically, they've always over tightened, and that's always ended in a thud, right? Plus, when all of the money that's being handed out now, assuming that ends with a new administration, that's going to lower economic growth. In terms of the way I think this is going to transpire with interest rates, I think, don't laugh, it goes all the way back to 1998 when a big hedge fund got in trouble, and Greenspan had to come in and do 1, 2, 3 rate cuts right away. Just boom, boom, boom. And I don't even think that back then they weren't necessarily at meetings. Someone got in trouble, boom, they cut rates. And actually, I think that's what the first cut's going to look like.
Really? You think it's just going to be a flash? It's just going to be
right. So something's going to happen, and they're going to come out on the tape and says, okay, it's now appropriate to cut rates. Boom. Now, part of the reason for that, right, particularly if this GameStop thing triggers some sort of larger liquidation, right?
Right.
That's a theory. But, I think the first cut will be on the fly because something goes amiss. And that's going to result in 3 cuts. They probably want rates at 4% because the government can't finance the debt at 5%. They got to get it to 4%. And then, of course, there's the political conventions coming up. Like, does the Fed really want to not give a conciliatory gesture to both parties? Do they want to be up there with everyone blaming them for what's happening now? So, there's 2 conventions, July, August. They got to do something in that zone before September, even if it's talk dovish. So back to what I was saying before, you could have an on-the-fly cut if it's a big problem. But if it's a small problem, you could have the Fed on the tape going, you know what? We're reevaluating this. We're probably going to cut. So they could either cut or go super dovish between meetings.
Yeah, and also today, you know, I think he speaks at 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe, is
Right.
what time that's at. He could be, and I thought about this earlier. He could be because if you listen to him talk, and really read in between the lines with what he's saying, he can be very, very slick about how he tries to insinuate things. It's almost like, you know, it's a sounding board for some of his homies to know, you know, well, hey, if he kind of talks like this, it's X, Y, and everybody's always speculating on it. I'll be interested to see if he speaks incredibly dovish right now, but only with the idea that he knows. He knows that they have to do exactly what you're saying. So are they going to give us a clue or not? Right? Is he going to come up there and just be flat and monotonous and, you know, say, hey, you know, X, Y, and Z has changed, blah, 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 blah. I'll be really interested to see if he actually gives us a clue. You talked about a macro a liquidation event, right? You're talking about
Right.
GameStop. I want to talk to you about GameStop real quick. And actually, I was going to ask if you can show me a chart on that here in a minute. GameStop stock jumps as speculation over Roaring Kitty intensifies. GME traders are avidly awaiting Roaring Kitty's plans as the GameStop influencer shares another cryptic meme. All right, so I think this one's interesting. Just a couple little parts. It says GME's stock price popped this morning with a video game retailer share price continuing to improve after it raised more than $2 billion, and all while speculate all over the next moves of the meme coin stock influencer Roaring Kitty. On June 7th, GameStop filed to sell up to 75 million shares of its common stock at its market value of $46.55, which has been inflated over the past couple months due to Roaring Kitty's return. The company announced late Tuesday that it sold the maximum number of registered shares with the SEC, raising $2.137 billion with a B. GME jumped 14% in early trading this morning, rising from $29.29 at open to a daily high of $33.50. However, it has since cooled to $31.35, marking a 3% rise. There's a stark difference. This is what I want to ask you about. To the last time GameStop announced it was selling additional shares. Back in May, they filed to sell 45 million shares, resulting in its stock price tanking. And Roaring Kitty again left social media for a while. Sorry, a little bit. This all comes amid the company being the subject of an internet storm stirred up by Gil, better known as Roaring Kitty. On Thursday, he posted his GameStop holdings on the Reddit community Superstonk, prompting speculation that he could become a billionaire, at least on paper, if the price kept climbing. Bill, let me ask you, why on God's green earth would the stock price rise after selling off 75 million shares, after selling off $2 billion worth of that? You know, you would expect the stock price to tank. Is that all surrounding what's happening with Roaring Kitty? And there's enough interest there that you're going to see a stock price rise after dumping off their own shares?
Okay, good question. So Roaring Kitty, despite how, you know, kind of fashionable or funny his content is, he's done some serious math. There's a short position in GameStop that is either so gigantic that it would cause dramatic prices. And there's also a theory out there that the 2021 shorts were never covered because there's derivatives and all kinds of other things involved.
Yeah, they were naked shorts, yeah.
Or something like nefarious was going on where they went like there's more stock short than exists in theory. Okay. Yeah. So Roaring Kitty and a lot of big hedge funds know that someone has to cover. They have to, right? So if you sell all this stock, who bought it? Most likely GameStop was literally selling directly to the shorts or putting stock out there in the market to try to blunt the impact of the inevitable, which is this stock rising dramatically as this short seller is essentially forced to cover. You know, we'd have to maybe talk more about the mechanism of shorting itself. But the bottom line is whoever is short could actually get liquidated, right? If GameStop goes, why do you think they keep halting it? No one asked this question. Why do they halt it?
I've been asking it. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Somebody's in trouble, right? I mean, ultimately they're financially struggling.
Right. And the question is, is it somebody or somebody's, right? In other words, is it a hedge fund and banks that have loaned money to them? Is it hedge funds, the hedge fund and banks that loan them shares so they could short? Okay, this is systemic implications. If you have a fragile system, remember how you were talking about, wow, they really do a good job holding this together.
Yeah.
But this can be like this could be like the crack. This could be the crack in the entire system. So, I mean, I've done some videos where I've been like, okay, well, GameStop's fun. Hopefully it doesn't result in something where your ATM doesn't work. That's all I'm saying. Because it could be that big, which is why everyone's trying to halt it.
Yeah. Because we don't know back they covered it in, well, I don't remember if it was in the movie or not, but a lot of those shorts were like weren't covered. They were explain, Bill, for me real quick. What's a naked short?
Okay, well, a naked short is effectively somehow going out and selling stock that you haven't borrowed. It's not like crypto where it's like a derivative and you just kind of magically hit the short button.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to short stocks, normally what you have to do is go somewhere, borrow the shares, say, hi, I want to borrow your shares. Okay, here's some interest. Take the stock and sell it and hope to buy it back lower and give the shares back to who you borrowed it from. Right. If you're naked, then you're somehow just shorting it.
Yeah.
You somehow, somehow making a bet, possibly using derivatives. And I think the bottom line with Roaring Kitty is Roaring Kitty because he thinks or knows that the short cannot be covered.
Yeah.
It can't be. And that's why when GameStop comes in and sells a bunch of stock, everyone goes, the shorts go a little bit. They go, oh, okay. Because if you noticed, Citron Research, some investment research group that was trying to get attention by shorting GameStop.
Yeah.
Notice how they used the capital raised by GameStop to back out of being short. Well, we can't be short stock anymore because GameStop fundamentals have changed because they've got so much stock. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a video game. It's a brick and mortar video game retailer in an era of downloads.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So there's something big out there. I really hope it's not a problem because I want to push back against the man by buying crypto.
Right.
Okay. This type of thing can create risks to the system. That's eventually good for crypto. But again, ask yourself the volatility of the last 6 days. What was it really about? We actually don't know. And that's the problem.
I hadn't thought about that, Bill. We love this decentralized system, the idea of Bitcoin and things that crypto can do. You go over into just straight up the stock market and you're talking about GME, we're talking about GameStop, AMC, whatever, these meme stocks as they call them. I didn't think about the implications of one of the big hitters getting truly whacked and it causing a problem because, as they say, shit rolls downhill. Right. So depending on where that money was coming from, if it was a high level, institution that can't, that maybe even, let's just use an example, like some sort of a big mortgage company that holds all of these different mortgages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now all of a sudden their balance sheet is just freaking crushed. And that ultimately will end up hitting all of the homeowners and it'll roll down towards us. I never thought of it that way. Whereas with Bitcoin, we're pushing maybe against the monetary system that they've put us in the game of printing fiat and playing with interest rates and things that you can't do with Bitcoin. That doesn't as directly correlate. And I like that you're putting that together that way because I had not thought of it that way. I just, a lot of people just think, screw these institutions. They've been screwing us for years, so let's get them. And I think that's what's happening here, right? I think that's why you would see some of this, happen or could see this happening again. And let me ask you this. They've halted trading, I don't know, 14 times. It's some ridiculous amount of they've halted it a bunch, and it might even be more than that, but they've halted trading a bunch. How are they able to do that? Like, it just seems criminal to me. It seems like, hey, this is supposed to be an open market that I can trade on, you can trade on, institutions can trade on. It's supposed to be an open, a market where we can, hey, we're going to short, we're going to long, we're going to do everything in between, call options, puts, whatever, however you want to, attack this thing, we should be able to attack it. But when they just stop it, Like, what's the is there an argument there for them to even give, or it's just screw you, it's our game and you're going to play by our rules?
Okay, well, centralized exchanges have rules, and they can, they have discretion as to how trading can occur. Now, most of the time when a stock gets halted, it's because there's news. Like
Okay.
most halts intraday
Okay.
are because, like, say, the company's going to come out and announce a dramatic change in what people expect on earnings.
Mm.
So the stock will be halted, the news will come out, trading will resume. Right. In this particular case, I believe the
But what's the
excuse is,
point? What's the point of that? Why not let it get volatile?
okay, well, the excuse that they might use is to protect retail investors from indiscriminate FOMO. Like, I saw a big broker's trading system went down, right? And that's no conspiracy there. The system went
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
but the system might have been overloaded by everybody trying to hit the green button on GameStop. In other words, the GameStop market itself may not be able to handle the amount of volume that's coming in. Right. So they halt trading to try to possibly put liquidity in and then make sure that this market can continue to function. Because again, it's kind of all one way, right? Like who you're gonna wake up and you're gonna go to the local bar tonight, and some guy's gonna sit there and go, "Yeah, man, I think it's time to get short GameStop. I'm gonna get on my app right now, get short some GameStop. Let me have another beer." That's not happening, right? It's all one way flow. Everybody is like, I'm buying it. It's like an option. I'm buying it, and that money, I'm assuming, is gone. And when it goes to 1,000, call me.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they have halts, because they just can't handle the buy volume that's coming in.
Interesting.
And I think there also may be a subtle message there that if you get in, we can halt it and make it hard for you to get out. That may also be.
Yeah.
In other words, everyone assumes there's life-changing money. There's only life-changing money if you can sell.
Yeah, exactly. There's only life-changing money for so many people, and only if you can sell. That's we've talked about that with the crypto markets. When the reason that you should do profit taking on the way up, obviously none of this financial advice, but just throwing it out there. When it gets absolutely insane, the exchanges can't handle some of the volume coming in, and you will get trapped. You will. I remember when I was trying to take profits last bull run, just trying to take some off the table. When it started to get absolutely wild, and I was like, you know what? Let me just scrape off a little bit more here. I remember literally the price at which I thought I was selling versus the price at the effectively slippage on freaking Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, it was just moving so fast. And so, yeah, I see that happening in the stock market as well. Something else. Well, first, pause. Fam, smash the like. Put on the bell notifications. Reminder, it's Trading Wars with an S. That's the show. That's the channel. That's the thing now. So just reminding everybody. Make sure you follow Bill Noble as well. And let me touch. Where did it go? I saw. I lost it. I like this comment, though. Side note. Imagine GameStop taking their added shares and dumping it into Bitcoin. That'd be beautiful. That's probably not going to happen, but that'd be beautiful. All right. So speaking of shorting, the crypto mining industry has been getting shorted left and right. And so I want to just touch on this real quick. This is a short one, but I want to touch on my side of things from doing Bitcoin mining. Short interest in U.S. Bitcoin mining stocks climbs 21% to $3 billion. Short interest on U.S. Bitcoin mining stocks has increased by 21% in the last 30 days, reaching $3 billion. This surge in short bets, has made the sector vulnerable to a potential squeeze, where short sellers may be forced to buy back their shares, driving prices higher. Despite this, short sellers have seen profits of about $350 million so far this year. All right, let me touch this from a mining aspect. The halvening happened. I got my first payout after the halvening, and I looked around and was like, whoa, what in the hell happened? Like, legitimately, it felt just right. It was terrible versus before. So my thought process is, and what I'm seeing is that in the Bitcoin mining sector, it at this point feels as if, and we've got a large amount of money in there, it feels as if only it feels like an elite's game at this point. You have to buy so much equipment and have so much power at such a low rate to be extremely profitable that it just prices people out of Bitcoin mining at this point. Do you believe that that is a part of the reason why why there's so much short action on Bitcoin mining stocks? Is it the halving?
Probably. The halving is an excuse for hedge funds to come in and say it's a dumb business model because all they do is mine Bitcoin and their revenue's got nowhere to go but down. Now, I don't agree with that. I do agree with, you're going to start seeing a lot of pop-up mining and a lot of mining companies, I think, get sold because they're a source of Bitcoin, right? Like, people don't realize that if Bitcoin is at 150K, there's going to be a serious shortage on exchanges. The only place to get Bitcoin is going to be from miners.
Yep.
So everybody who's shorting Bitcoin doesn't really understand where Bitcoin can go.
Yep.
And two, I also think sovereigns are going to have to get involved with mining Bitcoin. So they may build their own facilities or they may buy publicly traded miners. Okay, now that said, that's the positive case for mining. Most likely in equities, I think there's 16 publicly traded Bitcoin miners, and that's too many. There's got to be consolidation in the industry. So I think that's like the hedge fund rationale. But again, I'm like, why are you selling a Bitcoin farm? I don't even call it miners. Why are you selling a Bitcoin farm if Bitcoin is going to 150K?
Yeah.
Right. Not to mention the fact that the Bitcoin miners are also going to become energy companies. The byproduct of what they sell, the byproduct of mining is heat. And that heat is going to get turned into energy. So I don't agree that there's no long-term future for Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, I don't agree either. And ultimately, we've talked about that. So we're using renewable energy off of a dam down in Itaipu in Paraguay. So we're using that renewable energy. There's a whole bunch of extra that the dam was producing that they were just losing. Okay, boom, they sell it to us at a really, inexpensive rate. It's a win-win for everybody. And exactly what you just said, the heat coming off of all of this being used and converted into energy, that's happening. Right. That is absolutely happening. They are harnessing that power and reusing it. So I totally agree with you. And on a large scale, you're right. They could start providing real deal power. Basically, it could be this cyclical thing where you're putting power in, you're getting heat out, which you're converting to power, and this power goes back out. What would be interesting is if they could effectively harness enough power from the heat to then continue to mine, to then basically put it right back in and have to pull less actual power consumption from the grid. That would be freaking cool. Like, so you got this big input, it puts out a lot of heat, and then when it's coming back through, you don't need as much input because you've got the heat that's converted to energy. That would be freaking cool. I have thought about that. I've yet to see somebody propose that. It would probably cost, lots and lots of millions of dollars, but it would be pretty cool. And you're right though, when Bitcoin, so the Bitcoin that I saw come in, it felt really crappy. But I know that as again, one Bitcoin's one Bitcoin, as this price continues to climb, which I believe that it will long term, I'm not mad about having it come in. It just felt crappy versus the dollar if you put it in fiat terms this last payout. You know who else is bullish on Bitcoin and crypto? Donald J. Trump. Check this out. Donald Trump says he wants all remaining Bitcoin to be made in the USA. Early Tuesday, Trump met executives from NASDAQ-listed Bitcoin mining firms CleanSpark and Riot Platforms. He wants to mine all the remaining Bitcoin in the U.S. The Republican presidential candidate sees Bitcoin as a last line of defense against a central bank digital currency. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump said on Tuesday that he wants all the remaining Bitcoin in the U.S., reiterating it will help the country become energy dominant. Hold on. These freaking things, dude. I gotta get a freaking blocker on these. They are just driving me nuts. Bitcoin mining may be our last line of defense against CBDCs. Biden's hatred of Bitcoin only helps China, Russia, and radical communist left. We want all the remaining Bitcoin to be made in the USA. It will help us be energy dominant, Trump said in a late night post on the social media platform Truth Social. There's his post right there if you want to look at that. Trump's post likely indicates he'd like to see more Bitcoin mining done by U.S. companies using local resources. Current mining hotspots are China, Central Asian countries, El Salvador, and some European countries such as Germany, data shows. Early Tuesday, he was the first, hold on a second, early Tuesday, Trump, the first U.S. presidential candidate to accept crypto donations, met with executives NASDAQ, listed Bitcoin mining firm CleanSpark and Riot Platforms. He reportedly told the attendees at the Mar-a-Lago event that miners help stabilize the grid's energy supply. Bitcoin supply is capped at 21 million, which is scheduled to be mined through 2140, according to CoinGecko. As of now, 90% of the supply has mined. Now, let me ask you this, Bill. Do you think that he has changed his, just speculating here, do you think that he's changed his view that much on Bitcoin, or do you think he is smart and sees, hey, there's a lot of people that see how great this thing called Bitcoin is, and I might want to get them on my team and be kind of anti-establishment as I push towards being the next president? Do you think it's more of a talking point, or do you think if he gets elected, he'll actually press through with, really pushing a crypto narrative?
Okay, perfect question. So Trump, being from New York, having experience in financial markets, and you can also tell his team does, about the importance of news flow, right? So Trump needs a progressively more bullish stance on a regular basis. So every 2 weeks or every month, there's going to be a crypto catalyst involving Donald Trump saying, I like crypto, I like mining. Okay, it's a tight race. It could be a three-way race, and he's got to have every single crypto vote he can get, knowing that, the guy in the middle, Kennedy, was kind of the OG in terms of politicians fully embracing Bitcoin. So you can expect a lot of, him using his star power to make sure that everybody in crypto stays focused on voting for him. Now, when he gets into office, I know there's talk about draining the swamp. I know. But when the men in black from the Treasury and the Fed come into his office, say, okay, Mr. President, we're going to open up the books a little bit. Maybe you want to throttle back on this alternative crypto thing, this alternative currency thing. Now, I'm not saying he would just kind of dump it, right? But, art of the deal, right? In other words, whatever he's promising now, you may get 40% of that. Frankly, if Trump gave you self-custody and called off whoever follows Gensler and let Hester Pierce run the SEC, I would take that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to get everything he's promising?
No.
Dude, it's art of the deal, right? He's going to have to make a deal. He's not going to be standing up at the podium at the White House going, yeah, man, I'm going to pump your bags, man. The dollar's going down. And that's not happening. That's not happening. All right. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah. No, I agree with you. He's still a politician, right?
Right.
And they have this platform, and they have, ideas, and you know what? He might be genuinely, seeing the true value proposition that is Bitcoin. That very likely is happening. Right. But he can't, at least unless they're going to end up with a Bitcoin backed dollar, he can't really go full fledged crypto, because he would be effectively, it would be counterproductive for the dollar, obviously, if everybody just flooded over into freaking Bitcoin. I think the only way that you could have both is, like I just said, you start backing the dollar with Bitcoin. But now you're talking about, whether anybody wants to admit this or not, and I've talked about this before, but you are talking about a national security risk at that point. You are, if our country doesn't genuinely, hold the keys to the kingdom effectively, right, then there is a security risk that something happens on the Bitcoin network. However strange or crazy or outlandish it would be to take over 51% of the network, it theoretically could happen at some point, depending on the concentration of, you know, one particular country or whatever, having access to this many mining rigs or whatever. So I think it would be a threat against that. So that's why I don't think that they would ever probably allow that. But I do think that Trump is also, because he's a shrewd businessman, he's seen how much money is able to be brought in from the crypto space. These businesses that they, you know, we don't want to push overseas, we can keep them here. So we go pro Bitcoin. We don't maybe push it all the way to the floor, but he goes pro Bitcoin. He gains all of these other people that he might already have, who knows, but he gains a lot of people, you know, pressing towards what we want to see with it. And then it's kind of the balancing act, like you said, the art of the deal, where you ask for a whole lot or you promise a whole lot, and then, you know, he throttles back a little bit, and then, you know, kind of eases into where it's headed. I like what Clay the Great said Trump's going to win. I work with ghetto ass MFers in South Central LA, Crips and Bloods and Trappers, and they all want to vote and will vote for Trump, at least the non-felons. That's funny.
And I think with Trump, and this is a Kennedy talking point, Trump is going to say there are 3 ways America can grow its way out of its debt: blockchain, AI, and he's going to add oil and gas and energy. And he's right. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to cut spending to solve the debt problem. You got to grow the economy. And Trump's great at that, right? Yep. He's like, oh, we can get energy and Bitcoin from the miners. That's why the miners were at Mar-a-Lago. No one's asked that question, right? Trump's like, oh, you guys can provide energy?
Exactly. Over. Yeah, because he's always been pro energy for sure. And I hate what they try to do and try to sell to people this idea of going just totally over to, you know, the whole Tesla side. Like our grid can't even handle some of the stuff that they're trying to push at the idea of like making this renewable energy that ultimately is, you know, actually less solid and good for the environment than some of the things that we do with oil and gas. It just is. So it'll be interesting to see how far that goes and what we get as a result of it. I do think if they continue to get more and more bullish narrative, combined with the upcoming election, combined with maybe other macroeconomic things happening, I think it's gonna be nothing but higher and higher and higher for Bitcoin. So we'll see obviously how far it goes. Which brings me to the next point, which is today. Today at 2:00, Jerome Powell is going to be speaking, and we're going to talk about the Fed interest rates, right? So the Fed interest rate decision is expected in Bitcoin today. At what time will it be announced? Here are the expectations. So while in the 4th Fed interest rate decision of 2024 is expected to have an impact on gold, dollar, oil, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrencies, the Fed will announce its June decision on June 12th today. That's 2:00 today. Fed President Jerome Powell will make a statement after the decision. So what direction are they concentrating? Macroeconomic data, which signals that the fight against inflation may last longer than expected, increases concerns that the Fed may start interest rates cuts later. While the probability of the Fed not changing interest rates in June is priced at 99.4%, expectations for interest rate cut in the U.S. this year have now dropped to 1 or 2. At this point, economists revised the Fed's expectation of 3 interest rate cuts in 2024 to 2, while they do not expect the first interest rate cut to be made before September. However, the economists think that the U.S. inflation data to be announced today will be important data for postponing the Fed's interest rate cut decision to a later date. He said at this point, the interest rate decision means a relaxation process that must be carried out very carefully. Fed members do not intend to stimulate the economy in an undesirable way as a result of excessive easing. So, Bill, is he going to come out more dovish or hawkish? And do you think that we're going to have a turnaround in Bitcoin today if he is to come out more hawkish? What are your thoughts?
Okay, well, if he comes out hawkish, it would alarm the market because there's really no reason for that. Mm-hmm. None. Now, the question is, what kind of dovish do you get? If you get high, okay, we're somewhat confident that inflation is under control, but it's not dropping the way we'd like it to. That's the middle of the road statement.
Right.
Now, you have to start looking for subtleties in Fed language. Like, for example, if he says, we're noticing risks to the economy, risks to demand, risks to growth, or risks in the system. If he says risks in the system, right, they're going to price in a July rate cut. Okay. So when if he uses any term like we're looking at risks, that's where I think the dovish pivot comes in.
Okay.
Credit card defaults are an example.
Okay.
Right? Now, if he actually mentions something specifically, that's more dovish.
Right.
Now, for me, I know that they want to cut rates. They want to, and they have to.
Right.
For so many different reasons. So I think when he talks today, he's going to be looking for any excuse to keep the political heat off of him.
Which looks like what?
Well, by saying something like, like he's going to declare victory and leave. Like, I think higher rates have at least stopped massive inflation from continuing.
Right.
Like there'll be a victory lap.
Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah. He said, like, we're happy with our progress against inflation. Yeah. We're happy with what's going on now. But rate cuts are a different story and we have to wait. That's kind of what's expected.
Yeah.
But
kind of hem and haw around, talk about, hey, we've done a great job with this. The economy is holding up and we're seeing that and but we also have some challenges that we have to face. So effectively kind of going back and forth, just kind of middle of the road.
Right. And again, if he brings up risks to his view, like Powell has always said, the risk is that inflation continues and we stopped being hawkish too early.
Right.
If he moves away from that and says we're more concerned about risks to employment and banks, of course, I'm not going to say that. But we're more concerned about risks in the system than we're concerned about risk of inflation going higher.
Right.
Any language like that, because remember, the Fed they didn't always do press conferences. Powell grew up in the era of very subtle, like, oh, they changed a preposition in the statement. Yeah. Hopefully he's going to try to send some sort of signal.
Yeah. I want to caution everybody, and then we're getting ready to wrap up here. Bill, I think I ran you a couple minutes over what you needed to do today, so my apologies. But I want to caution everybody. Trading these type of news events is very, very, very risky because, like Bill just said, one word placed into what he's speaking about can send these markets in one direction or another. And so I just want to caution everybody. Sometimes the best move, not financial advice here, but sometimes the best move is to sit on your hands. Obviously, if you just want to bet on it, go for it. Do your own thing, right? You use some risk management there. But the reality is this can go one way or the other very simply with literally just one word from Jerome Powell. And I think he also has to walk that tightrope as well to be very, if you watch what he reads, it's very prepared so that he, it's exactly as he wants it to be presented. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Bill, thank you again for coming on, brother. Great show, guys. If you're not following Bill Noble, make sure to give him a follow over on Twitter and obviously on YouTube. Doing great things. Bill, tell the people where can they find you, and then also your Patreon is still rocking and rolling, correct?
Yes, Patreon is still rocking and rolling. Appreciate the the ability to kind of shout that out. So it's patreon.com/unhinged crypto. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were showing it. Okay,
yeah, right up here. So we have podcasts, right? We have one-on-ones are available for members. And, every night we have a podcast and, charts either about a portfolio, groupings that we like, or just flat out TA. So we appreciate the ability to show that on the stream.
That looks really clean too, by the way, just as a side note, that looks really nice the way that's set up. So how do they find you on there, Bill? On Patreon? What do they do?
It's in the bio of my Twitter. It's patreon.com/unhinged crypto.
Okay. Perfect. Well, Bill, I appreciate you. Family, we love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thank you for stopping in at Trading Wars. Question everything. Trust nothing except your boy Keeper and Bill Noble. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. We'll see you soon.